Hello, I'm Lena Kronenburger, freelance journalist and moderator, and I'm going to talk now with a filmmaker. Elisa Mereghetti is here, a director and documentarist. Hi, Elisa.
Hi, Lena. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again.
You, as I could read, deal with a lot of important issues such as like social issues, but you also are interested in historical, environmental subjects. So would you mind maybe telling me a bit about yourself and about the motivation behind being a documentarist?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I've been a documentarist for a long time. My first film was about Afro-Brazilian religion. I'm very interested in people, in cultures, in integration and movements of people. I've always dealt with social issues, besides making films a little bit on every kind of issues, including environmental subjects and so forth. But really working on the impact that a documentary can have on society is the most important thing for me. So yeah, pretty much everything that we've done with our company, which is called Ethnos, has to do with creating change in society. So that's very much what I believe the documentary can do. And it can do that through also an artistic approach. I see it as a way of expressing also a point of view and maybe a way of interpreting reality that can be a creative act as well.
You have lived in Italy, you have lived in the United States, in New York. Where are you based right now?
Right now, I'm based in Bologna. I live in Bologna, and that's where our company is.
When you start thinking about a documentary, what are the first aspects you think of?
Well, the ideas for documentaries come from many different sources. I mean, we often, it's by chance, you run into a subject, things happen and you meet people, interesting people, and you can see that's a great story. Or sometimes people call us to make a film about a certain project. For example, when we were in Africa, we've done a lot of films about NGOs and projects that were in the field. And so that's another way of working. So it all depends on how you're going to tell a story, because the same subject can be treated from many different angles. So it is a difficult type of job, and takes a lot of attention and a lot of also especially in the relationship with the people that you're working with. So that's very much part of our work, how to relate to our subjects, how to respect their way of being, their lifestyle and their thoughts. So it's really much an exchange.
Now I want to watch all of your documentaries. So where can I access them?
Well, we have a website that tells the whole story of our company. It's a long story, and the website is ethnosfilm with an th.tv, and some of them are available on YouTube, some of them are being broadcast on TV, so there is quite a bit of material there. Yes.
Right now, you're working on a documentary about an athlete, a special athlete. Would you mind telling me a bit about this project?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's a very, very big project. We've been working on it for already about 2 years. And the protagonist of the film is Valentina Patrillo. She's an athlete, a Paralympic athlete. She has a visual impairment. And she's also a transgender person. So she started her transition about 4 years ago. So it's a recent transition because she's already 48 years old now, but she's been an athlete for all her life. So in this new identity, which is what she really wanted to show the world, her real identity, she wanted also to continue running as a professional athlete. So she has started a battle with sports institutions to run in the women's category. And that's very controversial. It's been a very difficult path, but within these 2 years that we've followed her, she was able to win this personal battle. And she, in fact, ran as the first Paralympic transgender athlete for the Italian national team in the European Championships. And her dream was to go to Tokyo, and she almost made it to the Paralympic Games in Tokyo. So just by an inch, she wasn't able to get in, but she was already, the suitcase was already packed. So we're telling this whole story. The film is called 5 Nanomoles, The Olympic Dream of a Trans Woman. And it's an incredible personal individual story, but it's also very much touching on a very strong issue that is being debated quite a bit in the US, in the UK, and it's just starting to be debated in Italy as well, thanks to this woman who has brought it to the public attention.
You have, as you said, like worked like now 2 years on this project. Would you mind telling me a bit more of the details? What made the path so difficult for this athlete? And yeah, do you have some details, some anecdotes maybe for us?
Well, one thing that I have to mention that is part of the film is very important is that it was started by a group of transgender people, young transgender people who are very much activist, and they work a lot with the transgender people in Bologna. So we're working together with them, and it's an interesting point. What I can tell, another anecdote about Valentina is that when she started running with women, she was almost a nobody up until then. Nobody knew about her story. And then in 1 second, the whole media came up to her, and that she became a really a public figure. So we had, in 2 weeks, we saw all the main and national channels coming to her, bringing her to live shows, and she had to adapt to a whole new set of questions, of attention. And it's quite a very strong issue in itself, how the media represent transgender people, what kind of words are being used, the continual referral to her previous identity, you know. Mm-hmm. So that's an important part of our film as well. And I think that, you know, there is quite a bit. And we're hoping to go to Japan anyway, even though she didn't make it to Tokyo. Mm-hmm. We're hoping to go to Japan with her and to meet with LGBT organizations there and bring her experience.
You just mentioned the words that are being used when talking about transgender people. What would you recommend, especially for journalists who write about transgender people? What should they have in mind?
Okay, it's a difficult question because there are quite a lot of aspects to take into consideration. And of course, the people who are more entitled to give this guidelines are the people who are transgender themselves, who can tell you what the important thing is for them, how to be represented. What I can say is that there is a lot of the what they call dead naming, which is using the name of the previous identity, which is not being appreciated at all by the trans community. And also there is a lot of referrals always to the physical aspects of the transition, and that is not exactly what is important, because you're seeing a person who is choosing to be herself in an identity which she feels that it is exactly what she wants to be. So the physical aspects of the transition are something that is private. So there is always a lot of, you know, going into the details, the medical and sexual details, and that's not there's too much curiosity that it doesn't really respect the individuality and the privacy of these people, in my opinion.
How often have you been surprised during these last 2 years?
All the time, all the time. It's been a real journey. I was very surprised by many things. I haven't had much exposure to the transgender community. So there are a lot of surprising things happening there. Besides the fact that I have, met a whole new world and a whole new way of being, and that I've learned myself to respect certain aspects and to enter into a dialogue, into a relationship with them. And I've also been very surprised by how this is happening to young people. I mean, there is really a lot of young people now, embracing new gender identities. And that's very surprising. I didn't know that this was happening. And it is happening in Italy as well. It is happening everywhere. And I think it's a positive change for society that makes us more flexible to accept, different forms of perceiving oneself or of identifying oneself. I've also been surprised by all these various classifications that are part of this world, and that kind of makes it more difficult for me because I'm not always sure how to identify people. I'm very much interested in the flexibility of the concept of identity, which I think it's interesting.
Yes, I agree. How long are you planning to continue this work?
Yeah, we don't know exactly when the film is going to be finished. We are following the developments, both on the sports side especially, but also on our personal side. For example, right now, Valentina is being a part of the city elections. They've called her she's becoming more and more a public figure. They've asked her to be part of a city council list as a possible, representative. And so we're following this electoral campaign, and that's very interesting. But that's not going to be the end of the film. The end of the film is somewhere down the line. So we have to wait for the events to bring us to a satisfying ending.
Thank you very much for this interview, Elisa Mereghetti. I'm going to check out the Ethnos website, and I'm curious to watch your documentaries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lena. Have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.